Welcome to Newsboy on Track for Monday the 4th of March. Much has been said and written about the big stables in the run-up to the Cheltenham Festival, but what about the smaller yards? Somerset handler Jeremy Scott's career has taken a step forward this winter, courtesy of Melodic Rendezvous, winner of the Grade 1 Tolworth Hurdle at Sandown before beating the highly regarded Puffin Billy at Exeter. This horse is on course for the Cheltenham Festival. His trainer spoke to us earlier. Jeremy, for those who aren't as familiar with your work as the likes of Nicholls and Henderson, could you just tell us a bit about yourself?
Well, we've held a licence for something like 5 years now. Prior to that, we were in the point-to-point world. We've probably been training point-to-pointers for the last 20 years, probably. We took the licence out 5 years ago, and year on year we've produced more winners and getting a few more horses each year.
And that obviously has been helped, or will be helped, by Melodic Rendezvous, who looks really promising. Did you always feel that he was capable of making an impression at the top level? He
was one that we had from a youngster, and to be honest, he was very slow to come to hand. So I have to say it was pretty unpromising 2 years ago, and he's just developed and grown into himself, and really from his run in his bumper, he's just continued to improve every time we've run him. To start with, we weren't convinced he was a superstar, but he's certainly developing into something that's hopefully more than useful anyway.
He's already a Grade 1 winner, having won the Tolworth. He's run, inevitably, I suppose, on softer ground than he's likely to encounter at the Cheltenham Festival. Do you see that as an issue for him?
Well, before we ran over in Ireland last year in the bumper there, we'd always thought that he wanted good ground. He won his bumper at Chepstow on good to soft ground. And I couldn't believe he would cope as well with the soft ground that we had in Ireland. And as you say, it's been very soft all this year as well. So whilst I'm not certain he'll cope with good to soft ground, I don't really see why it should be a problem in as much as original bumper was on it. But is he as good on it? Time will tell.
And it looks a very good renewal of the Supreme Novices to open the festival. Which of his opponents have you been particularly impressed by?
Well, it's interesting. We've had several horses running against my tent or yours, and we've actually finished probably way closer than I thought they ever would. But I thought he was enormously impressive in his on his handicap bow, and looked to have plenty up his sleeve that day. On paper we've I think £12 to find with him. And the Irish, the Irish form, the English form hasn't really crossed over at all this year, so it's difficult to know the level of that form. But the Irish have obviously got to be very much feared.
And tactically, will you do anything different at Cheltenham to previously?
No, I think in principle he'll be relatively held up, and maybe we ride him slightly closer to the pace because I think it's quite difficult to make a massive amount of ground up round there. No, he'll hopefully be produced for a turn of foot. I mean, your biggest fear is will they go the gallop, or be able to go the gallop early on in the race? And the trouble with all these novice races, they all tend to be run quite slowly, and they've built, and I think that's slightly been exaggerated on this soft ground. So, if he can travel away for the early half of the race, I'm sure he'll be there at the end of it.
Now, your jockey Nick Scholfield had a fall yesterday. I gather, though, that the news is better than first feared.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything broken. As far as he's been looked at by 2 or 3 doctors, and I think all the X-rays have shown there's no actual damage in terms of bones, but he's obviously had a very severe kicking, and I think he's got very sore ribs, and his back's obviously sore. So hopefully it's all superficial, and he'll be back on the road. But I think he'll probably have 2 or 3 days just to get over that, and he'll, with a bit of luck, be riding by the end of the week and be on song for Cheltenham next week.
That was Jeremy Scott discussing Melodic Rendezvous and his prospects of glory at the Cheltenham Festival. We'll have more Newsboy on Track on Wednesday. Join us then.